Rugby-wise, I'll be hopefully representing Jamaica at the World Cup. That's 2021 Rugby League World Cup. And then property-wise, hopefully, I said I'm dipping my toe into HMOs at the minute. So hopefully that'll be a couple more properties under my belt.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Designer Future podcast. I've got Ben on today, a little bit of a different guest from our typical guests on a weekly basis. So Ben, introduce yourself for me.
Hi, I'm Ben Jones-Bishop, professional rugby player for over 10 years now, and sort of branched into property through that process. And I'm looking to kick forward with that, with a property really. Obviously, I'm currently still playing. Got a few years left in me yet, hopefully. And but the property is been sort of a side thing, sort of to jump into when my career finishes.
Wicked. So, what sort of got you into property? Obviously, if you was playing full time, obviously that was sort of your main focus. What made you get interested in property and sort of take that leap?
Mainly, it was just making sure you had something to fall back on. Really, that was the main thing. And then I got into property. I'd always been interested in property. Really, just watching property programs on TV. But the biggest influence probably was my agent. He's big into property himself. And as I said, just as an athlete, you have a short window, sort of unique, because you sort of have two retirements. You have your sport retirement, and then you're into everyday working life, and then you have another retirement. So it was just making sure that we sort of invested wisely with opportunities available to me at the time, and it was great to do that.
Wicked. So talk to me a little bit about the initial steps, like how you first got into property. What was your sort of strategy, in a sense of going from nothing to investing this money into property?
The first one was literally just through upgrading myself. I was living with my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, just a 2-bed flat, and just through upgrading to a bigger house, we kept the flat and just rented that out. Right. And then as my career went, as I said, my agent, I sort of got into that, and he had a big influence, and just sort of looked into. I did a lot of just online looking at things, and also a lot of senior players. They'd have property as well, so I'd sort of ask them questions, and then I sort of took the plunge and got some education. Went down to London, did a few weekends down there, some like crash courses, working on strategies, and decided that probably buy-to-lets, refurbing, adding value to the property, refinancing, taking that money out, and then on to the next one, sort of thing. That was probably the way to go for me, and something that interested me. So yeah, that's how it began really, and sort of it's been a slow, like I said, 5 years ago, that initial one, and it's been a slow process, but now 5 years later, I've got a portfolio that manages itself, and pretty much pays my bills.
Wicked. I love that. Just while we're on that topic of, like, firstly getting into property investing, what are some of the hurdles you sort of come across that, if someone sort of see that opportunity of investing into property, might not consider at those initial stages?
I think just everything that goes with it. It's not just as simple as, there's a house for sale, let's buy it and turn it into a rental. It's got I think that's the biggest thing for me has been not getting attached to it. It's a business. It's like, it's a numbers game. If it doesn't stack up numbers wise, then it's not a good deal. Sure. I think that's the biggest thing. You can't just see a house on the street for sale, buy it, and turn it into a rental, and it's going to work for you. There's a process. My first one, I think, I sort of learned by diving in and sort of adjusting as I go, and probably the first one was a big learning curve, as it went over budget, so my numbers weren't right. So I wasn't able to draw out as much equity as I wanted, so that that delayed things a little bit. But Yeah, I think that's the biggest one for me. And I speak to a few of the boys. Like I said, I'm quite big on this now, on especially on my Instagram, and I get boys from other teams messaging me and asking me about it. I said, for me, the way I've got education as well, the learning from others is important, and having people to bounce ideas off. But for me, it's getting in there and then learning from your mistakes, really.
Mm-hmm. Cool, wicked. And what's sort of motivating you now? Because, like you said, the properties you've already got are already, paying your bills and everything. So, what's sort of motivating you to continuously progress?
It's an interest and something that I want to go into when I'm done, sort of, to move up levels. Ideally, the long-term goal, sorry, is to buy a piece of land and build some some houses. So that's the long-term goal. But I'm just for me, I just like to move up the ladder, so to speak. I've started with a small buy-to-lets now. I'm onto the sort of the HMOs. Dipping my toe into that water, and just keep building and keep learning, really.
Wicked, cool. Pretty interesting one for yourself, I think, because everyone we typically speak to are, like online business owners, and I know you're utilizing online for certain things, like you said, you're coaching and always studying different topics. If I was to come into your phone and delete 3 apps from your phone, right, what would those 3 apps be you would really struggle to continuously build what you've been building?
Probably Instagram, because everything's on my Instagram. I had 2 accounts, but I've merged them into one now. So Instagram. The other one probably would be, I'd say, the right move. I use that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think what apps I've got now. I'm not sure off the top of my head, to be honest.
No, that's all right. So Instagram and Rightmove are up there. They're the key ones.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat in this.
Yeah, no, go on.
And I'd say I manage my I manage my portfolio through an app. So it's called Landlord Studio. So yeah, if I lost that, then I'd be in trouble, because that's got all my Excel and stuff on.
Okay, cool. I've never heard of that. So what do you sort of do through there?
So I just so I have all my the property, the tenancy, obviously the rent details. I log the rent, it produces all my invoices, and basically keeps everything together. So I think it's like a basic version. I have an accountant who does all the stuff, but I just sort of try and manage it.
Overview of it.
Yeah, basically. So it just keeps all my expenses together, my invoices, my rents, my projected figures and everything together.
Wicked, cool. So one thing I sort of picked up on is the fact that you sort of went out your way and attended courses and like webinars and stuff. You mentioned you've done before. Let's say, for example, someone's landed on this video and they thought, I like what Ben's doing. A buy to let makes sense for me. Is there a particular resource, whether it was a certain book you read, maybe not even just to do with property, but even if it was like the mindset that made you get into property, is there anything that sort of stands out that you'd point someone in direction to get going with?
Yeah, there's a book that I first started with. It's called, in fact, it's just on my bookcase behind me. It's called Rob Dick's. This one here. It's called Rob Dick's Property Investment: How to Survive. It's just basically just a basic one with loads of strategies in. I always recommend that to the rugby lads, just to get a basic grasp of things. Sorry, what else? What the question? I forgot what the.
Yeah, no, that was it. So like a good resource to start with.
Yeah, that's the basics for me, that one. And then I'm big into podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Rob Dix, he has quite a few podcasts, propertyhub.net online, and then Instagram Prosperity Network that I'm a subscriber of as well. So, and I've propelled myself over the lockdown period. Like I've been on Zoom, been hammering Zoom. You know, I've spoke to you before, spoke to other people on Zoom, just trying to elevate my business side of things, because with properties, I've always done it on my own, really, which has been tough to, you know, accountability and keep yourself going at times. And getting to meetups has been pretty tough, obviously, with my, you know, my sports, and also I've got a young family as well. So, you know, evening meetups aren't really ideal for me. So being able to hammer it over Zoom, and, you know, has been really good for me.
Amazing. So that would be definitely one thing I'd want to ask you about during, you know, the last couple of months, everything that's happened. How has that sort of affected you, or has it affected you the last couple of months?
It's been massive for me, really, just where I'm at with my career as well. I had an illness that kept me at home from November, so I've only just come back to playing now. So that linked in with lockdown, it sort of gave me a chance to just reevaluate, see where I'm at. And as I said, the property side of things, it's been massive for me. Just being able to just have a sort of sit down, look at where I'm at, you know, where I want to get to, you know, how I'm gonna do that, and then just being able to connect with people on a daily basis. It's been probably been a game changer for me. It's given me time as well to sort of focus on just promote. Everyone who in my sort of network knows me for my rugby, but it's given me a chance to put the property stuff out there, which I've sort of pushed on Instagram quite a bit, and you know, it's been able to show a different side of, you know, obviously off the field, and sort of my my business interests as well.
Sure, wicked. Do you ever use cold email at all?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nice. Okay, cool. And for someone that wouldn't really understand what your day-to-day would look like, I know you said you've obviously got other focuses, being an athlete as well. How do you sort of split your days between having the focus of being an athlete and having to obviously tick off certain things on your to-do list when it comes to being a property investor?
Yeah, so I'm up early, generally just to get things done, respond to emails. That's sort of where my property stuff comes in. Respond to emails, see if anything I need to do during the day. Then I'm generally at training sort of early morning till 1-2 o'clock, and then pick the kids up, and then sort of through that time, sort of the afternoon period, it's again just dealing with emails or paperwork. At the minute, with you know, the way solicitors and the lenders are at the minute, it's quite been a lot of demand recently. So it's there's a lot of backwards and forwards emails, paperwork needs sending. You've not sent it correctly, so can you send it again? It's so, and then generally, so property wise, it's early morning and sort of late at night, really. Not, I'd say in the evening where I touch base for that, and then during the day, it's obviously my rugby stuff.
Amazing, cool. So yeah, obviously we've spoken in the past about social media and, you know, how you're trying to implement certain strategies and stuff. Do you have any tips for someone that's just getting into social media, whether it's as a property investor or just in general? Any advice?
I think the biggest thing is just try and be consistent. So I went through a phase of just posting on a Tuesday morning, every Tuesday morning, property, and at first you don't really, you know, you don't get nothing from it, but it's out there and you're constantly doing it every Tuesday. I think I did it for 7 or 8 weeks, so that's, you know, just 8 posts. They were all pre, you know, I'd already done it, had software to, you know, get them scheduled in, which I got from your YouTube video, and and that was it. And then as that goes on, it snowballs. You know, you obviously different people use your hashtags are key. People start following you, start noticing you, I'd say that really, be consistent and put yourself out there. Like, I'm generally a reserved person, and I think the biggest thing I did a video, just an update on one of my properties, and that sort of got load of hits, load of people commenting, load of people DMing me, asking me about it.
Nice.
So I think just for me, it's just being consistent and just telling a story. Don't have to be.
You've got an amazing story to tell as
Yeah,
well.
so it don't have to be an amazing story. It's just you. Just tell you.
Yeah,
People are interested in you. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. There'll be people who, you know, laugh at you and think, "Oh, what's he posting?" and that. But you know,
yeah.
you just gotta
Got to stay in your own lane. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
No, that's really cool, man. And I love that you're taking the initiative to sort of share your journey as well. Because honestly, that's one thing when you're posting content, people, is like you can post it and just think like, oh, like what is the point of that? But when you are consistent with it, like some of the messages that I've got, or even the fact that Ben just told me that, you know, he found one of my YouTube videos and that's had an impact of him staying consistent on posting his own stuff. So that for me is enough to know that I'm impacting people. And I'm sure with Ben, you know, people were going to watch his journey and think, okay, cool. Like if Ben can do it, I can do it. You know, he's obviously showing you that it's easy for someone to, if they put in the hard work, to be able to get something out of it. With that sort of being said, you obviously doing the content for your Instagram and stuff like that, running the day to day and being an athlete, there's a lot going on. Have you ever looked into sort of like outsourcing any of the work or building a team around what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of looking at now. You know, the paperwork's stacking up quite a bit at the minute, so maybe a virtual assistant, or for me, probably like the biggest thing is, yeah, the way I is probably managing the social media side of things and just being consistent. You know, I'm on and off. I have a sort of binge where I'm on it for, like I said, posting regularly, getting everything, and then like now I've been off it for a few weeks and not really touched it. So, but yeah, it's getting a bit manic. So it's something I need to look into quite a bit, I think.
And sorry, with that being said, as a property investor, have you noticed an impact from using social media?
Yeah, I think in terms of people more experienced than me who I can, you know, converse with, definitely. Also, my last property was a link from, although it was a teammate, but he's obviously seen what I'm doing on Instagram and sees me that I'm into property, you know, on a daily basis at training. So that's the HMO was a link from a teammate as well. So that was good.
Nice. And that's all sort of conversating through Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's it. Just like I said, everyone knows a rugby player, but it's, you know, what else is there, you know, other than that as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's wicked, man. And yeah, I think definitely like you said, you've got a very, very interesting story. If you can sort of bring both of the worlds together, I think that's going to be very, very unique. Let's imagine, right, that someone's jumped onto this video. They've typed in how to start your property investment portfolio, right? Where would you recommend they spend most of their time if they're just getting started? You know, not making a website, posting on social media and stuff like that, because ultimately that's not going to get them anywhere in those initial stages, right?
Yeah, I'd reckon just understand it, what you're doing. Like, what is your plan? Like, for me, my plan is to my initial plan was to replace my monthly income, so, you know, to cover my bills when I'd finish. So is your plan monthly money in your pocket, or is it long-term capital appreciation? So that sort of determines what sort of route you're going down. So I'm going down the houses that I can refurb, rent, and, you know, the rental money, and they just tick over, and I'm sort of recycling that money on a monthly basis.
Sure.
Whereas the other route is you buy something and you just, you know, you just have it and it sits there. Probably not the greatest yield in terms of rent, but, you know, over the years, it's going to massively, appreciate in price.
Mm-hmm.
So it's whether it's capital appreciation or sort of money that you can work with on a monthly basis. I think once you know that, then you can sort of home down and sort of study. As I said, for me, books and podcasts have been really, really good for me. There's so much content out there that's free that you can use, but then one sort of as you learn them basics, then if you want to propel yourself, then you've got people who you can, mentors, coaching, whatever, who you can sort of touch base with and sort of propel even further.
Wicked. And sorry, just to touch on that before we do finish up, what was it like investing into yourself for the first time, in terms of like outside of the norm? So obviously you might have invested in your gym membership when you was getting into rugby. You would have invested in, paying your subs for your gym, your gym. Sorry, paying your subs for your rugby team, like on the weekend, like when you was growing up. When was the first time you really invested into yourself as like an entrepreneur, if you like?
I think the biggest one was obviously paying for the education that I did. It was quite a lot of money, and I'd thought about it, probably put it off for 18, 24 months, and sort of I can just I'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
And then I just took a leap, and that really, it was quite funny because I'd actually paid for two people. I thought, one of my friends will come with me. It was paying, you can bring someone with you, so 2 for 1 sort of thing. But when it came to it, no one came, so I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go by myself, and it just sort of propelled from there really. So I think it was a bit daunting, but once you dive in, you just I think you just learn on your feet then as you go. And because I'm passionate in it, and I know that's what I want to to achieve in the future, then you just got to get in there, go for it.
Love it, man. Love it. So the podcast is Designer Future. So I'd love to sort of know where you hope to be, imagine in like 12 months from now.
12 months. 12 months from now, hopefully, well, rugby wise, I'll be hopefully representing Jamaica at the World Cup. That's 2021 Rugby League World Cup. And then property wise, hopefully, I said I'm dipping my toe into HMOs at the minute. So hopefully that'll be a couple more properties under my belt, and sort of working up the ladder to the long term aim of like I said, buying some land and building my own houses.
Love that. Well, thank you, Ben, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where can everyone find you on Instagram and social media?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram, it's at B Jones Bishop. My Twitter's the same, but I'm not on that very often. But yeah, Instagram at B Jones Bishop.
Wicked. Well, thanks again for coming on, man. Everyone watching and listening, I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Hollywood 6.